Hi, it's Theresa Steele with Vote Steuben, and today I have with me Mike Meeks, and he is candidate for sheriff for Steuben County. So, Mike, thank you for joining me
You're
today.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, so I wanted to just ask a couple questions to help people know who you are as sheriff, the Steuben County Sheriff candidate, and just to ask you a few questions that people in the community might want to know
Okay.
to where your stance is on things. So, as a sheriff, you don't do legislation, but you respond to it. And
Correct.
so there's going to be some questions about that. But to start off with, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I'm born and raised in Steuben County. I'm from Fremont. I graduated from Fremont High School in 1995.
Okay.
I played basketball, ran track, even did a play or two. Was in the
Okay.
band.
Okay.
Um, I've been with the sheriff's office in Steuben County since 1998,
Oh,
so nearly 30 years. I've dedicated the majority of my adult life to protecting Steuben County. Um, I live in Angola now, but like I said, I'm from Fremont. I started out at the sheriff's office in '98 as a confinement officer in the jail.
okay.
I went to patrol deputy in 1999 and spent about 12 years in patrol. During that time, I was on this SRT team, the SWAT team, for
Okay.
9 years. I retired from that in 2010 as an assistant team leader. It's a young man's game.
Okay.
Then I went to a detective. I was a detective for about 8 years. Started out as a sergeant, and then was promoted to first sergeant in charge of the investigation unit. And I handled all kinds of cases, everything from auto theft to homicide.
Okay.
Um, and then in 2019, when our current sheriff took office, I was appointed chief deputy. So I've been the chief deputy the last about 7 years
Okay.
under our current sheriff. Um, so that's kind of where I've been and where I'm at today.
Okay. Now, there's obviously a lot of different roles that you can have in law enforcement. So, what are some of the areas that you have not touched on yet? So, you've been a detective. You,
I've been about everything in the sheriff's office
okay.
except canine handler, and it was never a canine handler.
That was when I was when they're sniffing out the drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And explosives or
You can. We don't have explosives
okay.
trained dogs right now. We have three canines that are trained in drug detection, handler protection, and article search and things like that. But no bombs or explosives.
Okay. All right. So you would just have to bring in somebody from another
Right. Correct.
surrounding community. Okay, well that's interesting. So you've had a taste of pretty much everything that you could, except for
Mhm.
that canine part right there.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about why you decided to run for office.
Well, as I said, this is my home. I'm born and raised here. I'm very deeply rooted. My family's here. My ancestors are here,
Okay.
um, and this is all I've ever wanted to do. I've always wanted to be a police officer, and the sheriff's office was in line with my principles and my beliefs. I'm a firm believer in supporting the Constitution of the United States and the state of Indiana.
Okay.
And as you probably know, the sheriff is a constitutionally elected office.
Mm-hmm.
The office is enshrined in Indiana's Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it's just been my lifelong dream and passion, and everything I've done um,
Yeah,
up to
seems
this
like a
point
journey.
is been for this goal in mind. Um, I I love this community. I want to protect it. I want to protect the citizens. I want to not only protect their property, but their other inalienable rights, life, liberty,
Mm-hmm.
and be the one that's there that makes sure that the they're not the government doesn't overreach or interfere unconstitutionally.
Okay.
And I believe that's the sheriff's role. That the sheriff, I mean, the office of sheriff is one of the oldest offices um, out there. I mean, it dates back to medieval England,
Mm, okay.
um, and it's a very unique law enforcement uh, office. It's the only law enforcement office that is elected by the people,
Mm-hmm.
and for good reason. The sheriff is the chief executive law enforcement officer of the county. There's nobody higher than the sheriff. The
Okay.
sheriff doesn't answer to anybody
Right.
except the people that elect them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the city, the police chief answers to another politician, the mayor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the state police superintendent answers to another politician, the
Mm-hmm.
governor. The sheriff answers to no one except
Okay.
the people that elect him. So he's accountable, he or she is accountable to the people.
Okay.
And I think that's the way it should be. I think because the sheriff is a law enforcer,
Mm-hmm.
but is also a protector of liberty, and
Mm-hmm.
that goes that I believe that wholeheartedly,
Okay.
and I want that for my community.
And that's as opposed to somebody that would not be someone that's a constitutional sheriff. They may not protect the people against government, federal government overreach.
It's possible. I mean, I don't. If you have the sheriff or any law enforcement officer that's not constitutionally sound, constitutionally minded, then I think yeah, that opens up the possibility. Maybe not out of malice or anything like that. Maybe just out of ignorance, but
Mm-hmm.
um, would not be treating someone constitutionally to make sure that their rights are protected and that they're afforded everything and that they may allow some some another governmental entity or whatever come in and do do something to them that's not constitutional. That's in violation of their civil liberty or their rights.
Okay. Now, we did talk a little bit before we started this, and we were talking about how you're on the receiving end of whatever our legislators determine and put
Right.
into our
Yes.
policymakers decide. And so there have been a couple topics that have come to light, and some that our local legislators and there's some that our neighboring states have made decisions on, and one of them is cannabis.
Hmm.
So that's something that because we're so close to both Michigan and Ohio, and it does trickle across state lines. As a law enforcer, what is your approach and response to violators that want to engage in the activity there and then bring it across state lines?
Well, for me, it's very simple. Currently in Indiana, marijuana, cannabis is illegal.
Mhm.
It's against the law. It's a jailable offense. It's a misdemeanor.
Okay.
Usually can be a felony depending. But so if someone goes across the line and gets that and brings it into Steuben County, Indiana, then they're subject to arrest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see any other way to handle it because it is against the law to possess marijuana in Indiana still, and having it legal on two of our borders, whether it's recreational, medicinal, or both, doesn't change the fact that if you come back to Indiana with it, you're committing a crime,
Right.
and it needs to be dealt with accordingly.
Are you guys doing any preventable programs? Like I know when I was a kid, there was a just say no to drugs campaign, and so I don't know if
Mhm.
that at what level of um, like police where they would go into the schools
Mhm.
and do those programmings and those campaigns.
You're probably thinking of the DARE program.
Yes,
Yes.
fair.
We don't have that anymore, but there's other programs that the schools are doing in conjunction with law enforcement. We have SROs in MSD schools,
SROs are
school resource officers.
okay.
Currently, the sheriff's office has a deputy assigned to MSD, and I believe the city police has one officer assigned.
Okay.
So there's programs that are going on at that level, but um, we as far as the DARE program, that's no more,
Okay. I was
unfortunately.
just wondering because if we start with that messaging at a younger
Hmm.
age and those younger kids are getting that message and it gets ingrained in them, how that could be a preventable measure.
Yes.
I mean, obviously they're not doing anything now,
Hmm.
but if it's ingrained in them at a young age, and if there are people in
Hmm.
their household who are older
Hmm.
and they're hearing kids come home and say, no, that's not good,
Hmm.
because we had a police officer come and talk to us
Right.
I didn't know if, because you're involved in, obviously you're a police officer now, a sheriff, deputy sheriff. I didn't know if that was something that you had thought about as part of the programming, or is that something that as a sheriff you could encourage some kind of programming like that? Or,
Oh yeah, it's always something that can be looked at, and I think it's a good idea. You want to education is the key.
hmm
Also, but I think that's part of it. The other part is there needs to be the right message from home
hmm
to the you know the message from us in the school to the child. I think also needs to match the message
be
from the
reinforced by,
parents, be
yes,
reinforced by
so,
the parents.
hmm
So, but yeah, I would always be open to any programs that prevent
drug
drug
use.
use, and
hmm
because it is a major drain on our community, and it does cause a lot of problems, and it costs a lot of money
Right.
to deal with.
Yeah. So being on the receiving end of decisions that are made outside of your control. Um, and the only reason I bring this up is because I don't know if there's any way for you to have those conversations because you are essentially an end user, a recipient of
Mhm.
any decision that a lawmaker
Mhm.
has. And that conversation has come up about
Mhm.
making it legalized here in Indiana. And so,
Personally, I don't believe it should be legalized in Indiana. I don't think marijuana should be legalized. It's a gateway drug. Um, and can lead to other problems.
mhm,
Fortunately, though, in Indiana, we have a strong sheriff's association
okay.
where we may not. Obviously, we're not part of the legislature. We're part of the executive branch, but
Mhm,
we do our the sheriff's association is very involved in our state legislature, and
okay.
are we give a lot of input
hmm
when things come up like this.
Okay.
So while we don't make the laws,
hmm
we enforce the laws, but there is a conversation. There's
Okay. That's
conversation
good to
there.
know. Right.
So that would be one of the things as the sheriff of this county that I would utilize to make sure that we're getting good laws and
Okay.
and
So you
and
would be proactive in your role.
yes.
Okay. That's like, that was the main thing I was wanting to know is that you're going to kind of get ahead of it instead of just
Yeah,
responding.
no,
Because,
I think it's very important to be involved as a sheriff or as a voter, as a citizen. I mean,
Mhm.
that's how our system works. Um that's the best way to, it's kind of a, you hear it all the time, it's kind of a cliche. Well, just call your congressman, but that's actually what you need to do. I
exactly.
mean, yeah, that's that that's one of the main tenets of representative government. We elect representatives to go
Make
and make
decisions.
decisions that we want, that for us.
Right. Right.
And so in order to do that, you have to have communication. You can't just sit back and complain.
hmm
Um, so you gotta let your voice be heard. I mean, that's our
Right.
government. And it's, as far as I'm aware, the best one in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so that leads to my other question because it's a kind of a hot topic right now.
boy, okay.
Yeah, so recently there was some conversation around our commissioners being open to Steuben County being considered for a casino.
Mhm.
And, there's been some comments about it. Um, and again, you may not be able to make the decision, you'll be responding to it. But what would be your message uh, in for those people that make that decision, how that would impact the sheriff's department that you would oversee?
Well, I would hope that there would be a lot of discussions and a lot of, again, two-way communication.
hmm
Um, there's pros and cons to everything.
hmm
Um, I I while I welcome the fact that there's kind of this out of the box thinking on how can we get more revenue to
hmm
our community and
hmm
and everything. Um, I would ask that it's not a, we just don't look at the dollar signs and you know, bust forward
Mhm.
without
Right.
really taking a hard look at it and how it's going to affect both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as the sheriff, I would be responsible for anything around if the casino came. I mean, I don't want to speak in specifics because I don't know much about it other than I saw the article as well. But and I know in general casinos, they have their own security forces, and some have their own police forces, and so the grounds themselves would probably not be the sheriff's responsibility per se.
Okay.
However, it could lead, to ancillary issues.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, as a whole, Steuben County anyway, and you've been around a while here. In the summertime, we attract
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people.
Well, it
And
was a couple years ago on 4th of July, we had that shooting at
right,
Pokagon. So we, there's certain activities that draw certain
hmm
types of people.
yes, yes,
I don't know how to say that,
right,
but we can either encourage it or discourage it by the things that we bring to our community. So, like you, I think it's great to think of different ways and different streams of revenue.
hmm
But my thought is just is where is that revenue going to end up
hmm
going? Is it going to eat up the resources?
right,
Like, are you going to have the budget to bring on? And is there the manpower to
hmm
bring on more?
right.
Um,
And I think that's one of the things that needs to be looked at. Okay, how's it gonna affect our not only the sheriff's office, but public safety resources in general. I
mm,
mean, because you got to think about, well, let's just take the summer, for example, the summer
mhm,
influx. We're around 36,000 population county. But now with tourism data that we know that in the summer on the weekends, it can swell up to 150, 190,000 people. Um, though, right.
excuse me.
And we have several campgrounds that at capacity have more people than all of our towns combined
Mhm.
at times. So when you talk about resources, it's not just the sheriff's office resources. I would say that it's public safety in general. Sheriff's office, EMS,
Yes.
fire departments. I mean,
Uh,
because you have all these people in the county
mhm.
on our roads. That's more potential for us to have more, more business, I guess. And as long as that is factored in or accounted for, then I mean,
And doesn't put us at capacity.
right.
I mean, we do want to have the tourism here and we want positive tourism. And so, I mean, this is kind of a little off subject, I guess, because it could detract from tourism because of
Yeah.
we like, at least for me, I think most of the people I know want a family friendly atmosphere.
Mhm.
And if it's drawing people that would go against that, it might detract them from our community and actually have an adverse effect. So
Mhm.
it might be bringing revenue in one way, but then we might lose revenue in another way. So
It's
so
it's
I mean yes,
possible.
but that
Yeah.
that that
Again, and I think that that's why they need to not rush into anything and
mhm,
not look at the shiny ball and, you know,
right.
do the due diligence to to make sure that it's something that's going to, be good for the county or not. I mean,
Right.
again, from what I understand, that right now everything's very preliminary. The commissioners just wanted to be considered. I don't think
Okay.
there's anything
Right.
that I'm aware of. You know,
It's good that it was put out there because then they can get some public
you
input.
gotta get feedback. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't know if you don't ask, right? So,
So is there anything else that's coming down the pipeline that would have an effect on the sheriff's department, whether it's coming through legislation or just, things that because of any change in the political environment or anything that you see that
um,
would affect your office?
probably, I mean, it doesn't I wouldn't say it affects the sheriff's office directly, but this new property tax reform bill,
Okay.
that indirectly, I mean, it's going to affect county government um, as a whole. It's not again, it's not set yet. There's some there's some things that in there that could affect revenue and obviously then affect budgets but it's again something to be aware of. Is the sky falling? No. I believe Steuben County fiscally is in a very good spot. And that's thanks to the years of good leadership, conservative leadership at the
Hmm.
county council level, good stewardship of the tax money. I know we have a pretty good rainy day fund, but again, it's something to be aware of,
Hmm.
but there's a whole other legislative session before this SB1 takes effect. So I look for some changes, some amendments.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard to tell exactly what it's going to look like when it takes effect. I believe in 27 or 28.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, nothing, nothing, nothing too crazy.
Okay. All right.
So,
Well, anything else that you would like to add before I ask you why you?
no, no, I think we covered quite a bit.
Okay. So, what would you tell the people that are seeing this video? And, because you do have an opponent, so
Hmm.
we need people to be learning what the different candidates are standing for and why
Hmm.
they would be running for office, because the primary is in May
Hmm.
and we need people because a lot of people don't vote in the primary
Hmm.
because they just typically focus on the general,
Hmm.
but primaries are important.
Yes,
And
very.
so why should they go to the polls on primary day and why you?
Well, because I'm the local guy. I'm born and raised here. I am very well rooted in this community. I love this community. I've lived here all my life. I'm a firm believer and supporter in the Constitution and
Hmm.
protecting our citizens' rights to life, liberty, and property. Um, I am I'm the candidate with the real world experience. I've been the chief deputy the last almost 7 years under our current sheriff. Uh, I see, I'm in the office every day. I'm right there in it every day.
Hmm.
Along with my training, I have the real world experience that I don't think any other candidate would have.
Hmm.
Uh, as the chief deputy, there are times when I have to act as the sheriff.
Okay.
I have to perform the sheriff's duties when the sheriff isn't available
Hmm.
for one reason or another.
Right.
So I'm familiar with the budget process.
Okay.
As the chief deputy, I manage the fleet and the budgeting for the
Okay.
fleet of police cars
Okay.
and emergency vehicles. I spend every day doing everything I can to make sure that our deputies have the resources and our confinement officers, all of our staff have the resources they need to effectively do their jobs and to protect Steuben County on a daily basis. I'm the only candidate with experience, I believe. Um, I've actually had to go and make presentations and for the sheriff and in front of county council and
Okay.
the county commissioners, and I've just been there every day
So
as the chief deputy. And
what I'm hearing you say is it would be pretty seamless transition from your current role into that. I'm sure there's
yes,
a learning curve and there's
yeah,
certain duties that you're
yes,
going to have to
yeah,
learn when
yeah,
you're in the position,
yeah.
but you feel confident
I
that.
feel confident that that would it'd be a fairly seamless transition. Yes, I mean along with that, my decades of leadership training. I've had countless hours of leadership training to include the FBI National Academy, the Sheriff Association's Institute for Credible Leadership,
Okay.
the the also the Sheriff's Association has they call New Sheriff School. It's a 40-hour course for newly elected sheriffs. I've attended that.
Oh, already.
I've
Okay.
already attended that as the chief deputy
Okay.
because because the chief deputy is right there, is it's the, I guess for lack of a better term, I'm the number two guy. So
Right.
so the number two guy has to have some idea of what the number one guy
Is doing.
doing.
Yeah.
So when the number two guy has to fill in.
Hmm.
Um, so I have that unique training that no other no other candidate would have.
Okay.
Um, so I think that's one of the big reasons why me.
Okay.
I'm um, that along with just how much how much I'm committed to this county
Hmm.
and to the citizens. I mean, you know, service, community, Constitution, strength. I mean, it's not just a slogan that I have. That's how I approach everything on the job daily. You know, make all my decisions based on that. Because those four things are so near and dear to me, and I think that if if you're if you're right with those things, then you're doing good.
Okay.
And there's
Good.
only, you know, obviously no one's perfect. We all make mistakes.
Hmm.
But um, it's just what's guided me, and it's just I think that's the best things to think about when you're running a sheriff's office. You know,
Hmm.
again, as the chief deputy, that's part of my job now is I run the day-to-day operations of the entire office. So
Okay.
patrol division, I oversee the division, the confinement division, the jail staff. I we have E911 now that was brought back under the sheriff back in 2022. I led that. I was put
Okay.
in charge of that to make that transition from being under the county commissioners back to under the sheriff.
Okay.
You know, it's just what I do daily.
Okay. All right. Well, so this is only meant to give them an introduction to who you are. So, what are some other ways that people can keep in touch as far as social media, website, or how can they contact you, whether it's phone, email? What is the best way to keep connected with you and better understand what your run for candidate is and
Yeah.
whatever information you
Well,
have?
I mean, obviously, you know, it's 2025. You can come find us on Facebook, Meeks for Steuben County Sheriff on Facebook, Instagram at Meeks for Sheriff 2026. My website, visit that, www.meeksforsheriff.com. If you want to drop a text or leave a voicemail, you can give me a call at 260-243-3444, or drop me an email, Meeks, the number four, sheriff at gmail.com. I'd be happy to talk to anybody. And one of the other things too, if you're so inclined and want to kind of throw something in the tip jar, it costs money to run run for office. You know, check to Mike Meeks for Sheriff. Email it to my PO Box 1052, Angola, Indiana 46703, or Venmo at Meeks for Sheriff 2026. We'd really appreciate any support.
Okay. Well, and we will take all that information and put it in the description. So if you want to engage with candidate Meeks here, you can do that. If you want to find more information about him or if you want to financially support him, we'll go ahead and put all that information in the description of the video and in our posts on social media. So we thank you for spending some time with us, and we encourage you to share this video with other people in our community that would be voting for a county position, and also encourage them to show up at the primary polls, primary election come this May. With that, we thank you and look forward to the next video. Bye.